Hi and welcome to my playhouse, and today I'm playing around in my little data center and I wanted to do a hard drive test. I did one some videos back, but I wanted to do another one and I wanted to compare different types of hard drives. I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but I've prepared the same server that I used last time, and it has 7 hard disk slots right here. It actually has 8, but I only have 7 different hard disk types that I want to test. So I'll show you the hard drives that I'll use. They're down here. First, we have a SATA hard disk. This hard disk is it's a 2.5-inch hard drive that I took out of a desktop computer, and it's a what is it? It's a 320 gigabytes SATA 3 gigabit per second hard drive, and it's a Western Digital, and I borrowed the tray from another disk, so the label is not right, but I wanted to see how that was gonna perform. And then we have a older 73 gigabytes, there we are, 15,000 rounds per minute, and it's a SAS drive. I want to see how that does. And the next one is a 500 gigabyte 7200 rounds per minute, and it's a 6 gigabit SAS drive. And then there is a 146 gigabyte 10,000 rounds per minute 6 gigabyte SAS, and it's very closely related to the next one, which is also a 146, but this one is 15,000 rounds per minute, and it's also 6. So these two are kind of to see the difference between 10 and 15,000 rounds per minute. And then at the very end I have 2 solid state disks that I want to see how they perform. I have a 64 gigabytes and a 250 gigabyte solid state disk. I have no idea what happens when I plug these into the server, and the server is right there. So the server is off, but I'm gonna plug them in. Cool, and let's power on the server. And the server is booting, and I want to get into the BIOS as soon as. And it found some disks and some problems and stuff like that. And I'm gonna press F8 for going into the setup. System settings, and we're gonna go in and configure the RAID controller. Let's see what we get. I think I have a mouse over here. Yeah. And the RAID controller is a M1350 for foreign configuration. Do we want to import? No. We'll clear. And all the foreign configurations will be lost. I'm aware of that. Some of these disks has been sitting in other arrays. Yeah. missing a lot of, and it seems to see one is missing. Which one is that? Number 1 is missing, and it's blinking over here. I have no idea what it's doing. Number 1 is just blinking. Let's try and reset all of this. Clear configuration. Next. Yes. Oh, and then we got number 1. So now all 7 disks are here, starting with number 0. That's why number 6 is the last one. And it says that this is a SATA and SAS, and the solid state disks are SATA drives. Weird, but let's see if we can configure this. Configuration wizard. Do this manually. Okay, I've been trying a lot of things, and what I've found is that I'm not able to do this automatically. I have to add 1 disk at a time, very manually. Adding disk to array. And then approve the array, accept disk group, and then add the next one. Solid state disk, add to array, accept disk group. That way they end up in each of their disk groups. The last one, add to array, accept disk group, next. Yeah, here I'm adding 1 disk at a time. I just had an error that I was not able to add SATA disks and SAS disk to the same span. I'm not sure what that means, but right now I'm doing it anyway, or at least I'm trying to. Yes, it might not be very good performance, but I have no idea. That's 2 disk groups. Yeah, so I'm done with all this manual work, I hope. Pressing next, and I now have 7 disk groups. Rich, and accept. Do you want to save? Yeah, sure. This took a while. And there is some SSD caching. It doesn't really say which drives, which is kind of weird. I'm gonna cancel that. And all the data will be lost once again. And now I have my 7 logical drives. starting with number 0. Yeah, that's cool. Exit. And we're gonna boot the server. Save settings. And exit setup. And yes. And the server is gonna boot in VMware, and we're gonna play around with our virtual machine that is installed on that VMware host. So here we are waiting for the VMware server to boot, and the kitty is taking the opportunity to cuddle and saying funny sounds. The server is up and running, and it's this one, number 220, the IP number 220, and it has the Windows machine that I used for testing last time. But first we have to tell it that it has some new disks. It already has 2 iSCSI disks, but I would expect that there would be some more disks available. Let's see, storage, and rescan all, and yes, let's see what it finds, if there's something new. Add storage, in disks, check. Oh, and it's all there. Wonder if I can pick more than one. Well, have to do this very manually once again and pick one at a time, and I will try and pick them in the right order so that they have this one. That's the SATA disk, and we'll select that, and next, and we will call it SATA next, maximum, yes, finish. That's gonna take a bit of time. I'll do that off camera. This is taking some time. But we're getting there. Only the 2 last solid state disks should be left now. There they are. Start with the small one. SSD. 64 bytes. And it has no spinning speed. Next, finish, and storage, last one, that's the SSD 250 gigabyte. Should be done. Takes just a second for it to update. Then our virtual server should be able to see the drives. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. good to go. And here's the virtual machine, so we'll need to add some disks. This hard drive is the one that I was testing with the last time, so we'll remove that. And we'll be adding new ones. Hard drive, next. 32 gigabytes, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna choose thin provision. If I took one of the other ones, I would get better performance, but in VMware I always use thin provisioning, so this test is closer to reality if I choose this one. And I'm gonna put that storage on a disk that I know which is that one. And next. Finish. And I'm gonna add 6 more disks. So I added the 7 hard drives to my virtual test machine, and you can see here what hard drive it is, and here that it's thin provisioning, and the size, I've just the standard size of 32 gigabytes on each of them, and they're in the order that they're sitting in the server out there. So when I go down, it changes the hard drives and I can see which one it is. So that's cool. And I'm gonna boot the server. There we are. And when I come into the computer here, there's just a C drive, and that's on the iSCSI SAN, but I would expect that if we go into disk management, that there will be a lot of hard drives waiting for us anytime soon. Here we are, disk manager, disk management, and there is 7 disks waiting to be initialized. I'm choosing the GPT partition table. Okay. And I will format these disks. So I've done formatting drives, and I've given the drives the name of the hard drives, so that I should be able to keep track of it. I'm gonna check if the drive is actually the drive that blinks in the server room when I do the testing. So far so good. Close that. No. And here are all the hard drives. And I have 2 test programs, just like the last time we did this. There we are. I have hard drive tune and crystal disk. Oh, you can see that. Yeah, it would have been really neat if it had put on the names that I just gave the drives instead of just VMware Virtual Disk. This and this and this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Apparently the boot drive is also the same size. Yeah, it is. That's not very good. So I'm gonna select the first disk, which is the second disk, because the first disk is the boot disk, so the second disk. And we're just gonna start it. And we get a very high performance, and that's probably the RAID controller helping us a lot. So this test program might not be very good because it's more or less looks like the RAID controller is doing all the work. So I've I'm done testing with the hard disk tune program, but I've just started testing with the Crystal Disk Mark program here, and that looks more like what I was expecting. But I'm gonna gather the result and we'll have a look at it. Well, while the Crystal test program is running in the background, we might as well look at the results of the HD Tune program. And it's not very usable because most of the graph that you see here is the maximum output of the rate controller, the 5015, but there is the minimum value. Kind of looks like what I was expecting from this. The first hard drive is the SATA hard drive, and it has a minimum value of 213.5 megabyte per second, and compared to the 73 gigabyte SAS drive, 15 rounds per second, it has 316. And if we go further to the next one, which is the 500 gigabyte SAS drive, but that is only 7200 RPMs, it goes down in value again, 260. So kind of slow, and SAS drive up with 15,000 rounds per minute, and it goes down again for the 7200 rounds per minute. And then we come to the 146 gigabyte 10,000 rounds per minute, 308, and the same configuration just with 15,000 rounds per minute, 360 gigabytes per second. And then there is the two solid state disks, that is 563 megabytes per second, and the 250 over there, 582 megabytes per second. So they are the fastest, but if we look down here at the boost rate, I thought that was, when I started, it looked like something I could relate to. Let's see that. It started with the first disk, the SATA drive, 89.3 megabytes per second, and then when we put in the SAS drive, the 73 gigabyte SAS drive, 15,000 RPMs, and it went up to 116.9 megabytes per second. But then it went up again when it was in the SAS 500 gigabyte SAS drive, 7200 rounds per second, and up again for the 146 gigabyte 10,000 RPM. But then it dropped back down. This is the 146 gigabyte 15,000 RPMs, and it dropped even more when it was in this solid state disks. This solid state disk is 100 megabytes per second, and the last solid state disk did the worst with 61.7 megabytes per second, and that was really weird. So I think this number is probably the one that's I recognize the best to see what is really happening. But yeah, that's the result so far. The Crystal benchmark thing, Crystal disk benchmark, looks very promising. Okay, and I have all the results of the test, and this is much better. The numbers are very predictable, and there are not that. There are kind of only a few small surprises, but let's zoom in at the numbers. Let's get the first one. Well, the first one is the SATA disk, and it's not surprisable. It's the one that has the lowest speed. There's a bit of a surprise here, but it's not that fast. 83 megabytes per second, and it becomes slower when the packages become smaller. 4K packages, they're down under a megabyte per second, and the numbers are very predictable. If we go one up, it's the 73 gigabyte 15,000 RPMs, and we have a lot faster read, but about the same write as on this one. So the read speed is faster, and this speed is more than double as fast as this one. And when we get it down to the small files, you can see that this is 3 times as fast, reading 4 kilobytes blocks, and the same thing down here is actually almost 4 times as quick than this one, and the numbers are equally in the write area. It's slower to write things to the hard drive than to read from it. If we go down over here to the others, this is the 500 gigabyte SAS drive. We have a little faster speed reading from it, but actually the slowest speed to write to this drive in all the drives that I've tested. This is the slowest one to write data to. And the numbers, they go down again compared to this one. The numbers go down again, and I think this disk is kind of a SATA disk that has been upgraded to a SAS disk with some hardware or something like that, but it's only 7200 RPMs. The numbers down here for reading small files are considerably better than the SAS drive over here. Here we have 4.7, and this is 7.5. That's considerably better. I can see that the read speed is better here than it is here. So this drive, they're equally slow, kind of. Some of the numbers on this one is better, and some of the numbers on this one is better again. Let's take the next two, these two. That's both 146 gigabyte SAS drives. The first one is 10,000 RPMs, and this one is 15,000 RPMs. And it's you can see that all the numbers go up except this one. It actually goes down a little bit, but you get some speed out of those last 5,000 RPMs, about 23 megabytes per second in the sequence test, and about 4 megabytes per second in 512 kilobytes test, and about 0.4 megabyte in the 4K test. So pretty noticeable that 15K round per minute are considerably faster than 10,000 K. And the last numbers we have are the two solid state disks, and they beat everything else. We get 400 megabytes per second just about on both of them. The 250 gigabyte disk is considerably faster to read to than the 64 gigabyte. It's almost twice the speed reading to the disk in the sequence. And when we go down to the 512K, it's almost the same thing. Also the write speed, the read speed is the same, and the write speed is almost the same. And the same goes with the 4K. There's not much difference here. These compared. And when we go down to the last numbers, the 64 gigabyte hard drive is considerably faster than the 250 gigabyte hard drive. There's quite a long way from this one. I think this one looks kind of the fastest, the 64 gigabyte solid state disk. And to the next, if we look at these two, this is the fastest SAS disk that I tested, and this is the fastest SSD disk that I tested. And the numbers are considerably better on the SSD disk. Like down here, it's like 50 times better or something like that, almost. And 30 times better, and up here the difference is not as great, but it's twice as fast. Funny enough, the read speed is not that far apart, and here it's not as far apart. Correction, the write speed. The write speed is not that much of a difference, except when we go down to the small block sizes. It's very clearly that you get a lot of speed out of an SSD if you have small block sizes that you need to read. I have a test that I want to do. I have 4 of these disks, and I have 4 of these disks. I think it would be very interesting to make a RAID 0 out of 4 of these disks and a RAID 0 out of 4 of these disks, and see what the speed difference will be. And I'll try that in another video. The SATA disk, 72 gigabyte SAS disk, 15 rounds per minute. 500 gigabyte SAS disk, 7200 rounds per minute. 146 gigabyte SAS disk, 10,000 K. 146 gigabyte SAS disk, 15,000 K. Solid state disk, 64 gigabyte. Solid state disk, 250 gigabyte. Really no huge surprises there. I was actually mostly surprised about that there wasn't that much of a difference between the disks. Like, I thought it would be bigger differences, but it's not. Surely the solid state disks are by far the best. Kind of a factor of 4 better than most of the other disks. Solid state disks are probably the way to go if you have databases or something like that. That's a lot of disk access. Not a big surprise there. Thank you for watching my video. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again. Have a nice day.